Okay, so I want to get into this video. I first want to say thank you guys so much for supporting me, watching me, subscribing, sharing, commenting. Oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so grateful and thankful. This has been a wonderful experience for me to just use YouTube to talk about my experiences and to vent. So let's get into it. This story that I wanted to share isn't something that I really wanted to share, okay? I felt like I needed to share it because of the lesson that I got out of it, but it's obviously about my DUI. I just got my first DUI. It's not in no way, shape, or form something fun to talk about or anything that I am proud of, okay? This is not an accomplishment or a goal, but it's just something that happened to me and I can't take it back. I can only use it as a learning lesson, okay? So this happened a couple months ago in May, and I was getting ready for my trip and the next day to the Dominican Republic. And so I was getting ready, super tired, and then I ended up celebrating that night before my trip, and then the celebration kind of just got out of hand. So one thing I know, one thing led to another. I'm driving, and then I'm like on the road, like I just kept dozing off and I kept falling asleep. But the thing was, I actually pulled over and I called someone, and I'm like, I don't think I can make it home. I'm like 5 minutes away. So they're like, just stay where you are, I'll come. And I ended up vomiting, and I'm like, oh, I feel better. I can make it home. You know, like when you first vomit, when you're like been drinking and you're like, that felt good. Like I feel so much better, I can go on. That's how I felt. So I'm like 5 minutes from home, okay, and I'm driving, and I'm like trying to follow behind cars because it's like my pupils are dilating, like I can like hardly see. I can just see very bright lights, and so I'm following people like headlights, and like I'm following the rear lights, and I'm just trying to stay focused. And then next thing I know, I see like my exit to go home, okay. I'm literally in front of my house when suddenly I just doze off to sleep. I hit a tree and my car flipped over. Next thing I know, I blacked out and I wake up to the sound of somebody's voice. And from that point, everything just began. So this somebody, still don't know their face or their name. They are like trying to pull me out of my car and get me out of my car. And I'm like super oblivious to everything. I'm just looking around at this point. And then next thing I know, I'm like looking up at cops. I'm seeing ambulances. I'm seeing fire trucks. I'm seeing strangers. I'm just looking like, well, what is going on here? Can somebody tell me? And then I turn around and I see my car flip over. And that was it for me. I just busted out crying. I was like, I just got in a car accident. What happened? But serious, oblivious, like, you just did it to yourself. Like, I didn't even realize that I drove into a tree. So the cop had asked me, had I been drinking? And me, I get so panicky around cops. I'm like, yes, I've been drinking. So they're like, okay, we're gonna need you to blow. I blow double the state limit. And then I failed my sobriety test, and then I was going to be handcuffed, and then I was going to be taken into custody. But then I ended up having to go to the hospital to get physically checked and make sure I was okay, internally and externally, and everything was fine. And then the cops had gave me a discharge to go home and told me to just wait on my court date. Okay, so while I'm waiting for my court date, so much is going on with me mentally, okay? I'm just fall into this complete depressive state, and I cried every single day. Because can you imagine waking up every day the next morning after this accident knowing that it was not a dream? You know, I just completely woke up every day depressed. And then I was anxious because I hadn't had my court date yet. So I'm like, is it going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be a week from now? How do I prepare? What do I say? What to expect? And you can Google as much as you want. I went on Google, I went on YouTube. I did that as much as I could, but it's nothing like having your own experience. So up until the date of my court, I was just a complete wreck. I have feelings of feeling prejudged, and then I thought about my future. I'm like, my future is completely over. I'm gonna have to explain this moment to my leaderships. I'm gonna have to explain this when I'm making career choices. Heck, I have to apply to medical school. I had to know that this is going to be in my record, and this is something that they're going to ask about. How are you going to explain this? This is over. Who's going to want a doctor with a DUI? And I was just feeling like a complete failure. I felt like it was all over. I was like, how am I going to explain this to my family? What are they going to think of? Because I literally have never gotten in any trouble, not even in school. I was not the girl to be going towards the judge. Like, that just was something I never saw in my future. But it happened, and there I was. And then when I received my court date, I finally started to kind of prepare mentally. And I was thinking about the entire situation and the mistake that I had made, and I was thinking what I could have done differently and how I wish I had done something differently. And I'm just getting ready for this day, and then you go before the judge and you get sentenced, and then it is what it is. But at that point, I just completely was just overwhelmed, and I got to the point where I was like, I can't cry anymore. I can't cry anymore. At this point, I was so grateful that my situation wasn't any worse. Number one, I was not injured. No one else was injured. No one was with me, and no one else had been injured outside of me. I was the only one and only thing involved in this entire incident. So that made me more grateful for my situation, but I had got humongous and tremendous amounts of support from my family. My family assured me that my life was not over, that everything was going to be okay, to just trust in God and believe in God and know that this is nothing but a life lesson for you. And then I just completely started to feel different. I started to feel more healthier mentally. I started to think more positive. And even though this is a situation where I want to nothing to do with, I had to take my plate as it was given, and I had to make everything do what it do. And so after court, I had to be involved in a lot of programs, and I have to do community services. And even though it's something that has now merged into my life, I have to deal with it. And now I get the opportunity of even listening to other people's stories and getting more information and education about drinking and driving, and the people that have lost their loved ones. It's just so sad that drinking and driving has been one of the highest leading causes to death. This is a very serious matter, and I made a very irresponsible and poor decision, guys. And just don't do it, okay? Don't do it. Even if you're taking a sip of wine, you can lose everything in the drop of a dime, okay? You lose your freedom. I have to be on a restriction when it comes to my license. When you're driving, you can only drive from here to there, or you only can be out at so long, like even if you're driving. If I'm not driving, it's different, but if I'm driving, I can only be out until, let's say, 10 p.m. It comes with so much. You lose your independence, you lose your rights, you lose so much money, okay? If I told you guys how much money I have lost, you would be so amazed. DUIs are very expensive when it comes to lawyer fees, court fees, probation fees. Every fee that you can think of comes out into your DUI, okay? It's very serious. It's nothing to play with. I lost a lot of my, like I said, mental health, my physical health. I went days without eating. I had to be reminded to eat because you can't even think about food, So you have to really consider everything that you're losing just by this one stupid, irresponsible decision. And I really want to just give honor and praise and glory to God, the man upstairs who saved my life. He came through for me. He showed me that there is still purpose and plan according to my life and what He has for me. I mean, it's not over yet. I just thank God that this is a learning lesson, and that this is not to be taken lightly, and that I wanted to just share my story because I really was not going to. I said that I would never speak about this because, like I said, it's nothing to be proud of. But thanks so much for watching this video. Subscribe if you have not already. I'm gonna come with more crazy stories that I've been through. You will not regret. Thanks, guys. This is airybaee, and I am out. Bye.